First pick is in on second round, and Lap, you said if it doesn't happen this way, there might be some problems. Joey Porter Jr. goes to the Steelers.
Right. Yeah. If the Steelers passed on him a second time, man, that would have been an upset. There's no question about it. They feel good about it. They got their big offensive tackle in the first round. They get Joey Porter in the second round. Pittsburgh's liking their draft right now. There's no doubt.
All right, guys, real quickly, you had said maybe a Bengals possibility with Joey Porter Jr. You like the Steelers pick of Joey Porter Jr.
I think it's a home run pick for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm excited to see him on Sundays. Joey Porter Jr. has a phenomenal talent. So home run pick for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and it makes sense obviously with the legacy ties.
Joe, you're there.
He can't cover Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, so it's okay.
And Brad, we're like, why did he slip out of the first round? I think he's a little handsy.
Mm-hmm.
He relies on the big long arms and the big old muckers, and he'll grab. And in the NFL, you can't be grabbing. They're going to call holding. They're going to call interference. And the talent level of the receivers ratchets up a little bit. The officials are a little bit more flag happy. Going to be an adjustment for Joey Porter.
All right, let's talk. Let's go through the division, if we will. Let's start with the Steelers. They went with an offensive tackle in their first pick in the second round. You guys, Malik, I'll let you start. How'd the Steelers do with their first pick and then now their second pick here starting in the ninth?
I hate that I'm praising the Pittsburgh Steelers, but I gotta praise the Pittsburgh Steelers. Broderick Jones was a home run pick for them. They certainly needed a franchise left tackle, and they got it in Broderick Jones. They did. They needed a guy to keep Kenny Pickett upright, and I think that he's gonna fit in nicely for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the Joey Porter Jr. pick, again, like I said, I think those are two home run picks. They address needs for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I know that the Pittsburgh Steelers loved Joey Porter Jr. in the first round, so for them to come back in the second round and be able to get him, couldn't ask for a better draft for them to start.
Yeah, I mean, Pittsburgh traditionally, having played against the Pittsburgh Steelers, their focus is in the trenches.
Yeah.
The offensive and defensive line, that's always been their focus. That's been a franchise staple. There's no question about that. They got themselves a hell of a player, to play that left tackle position. And like Malik said, almost every seemed like a high percentage of the mock drafts anyway, had Joey Porter Jr. going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So they not only get their offensive line beefed up, they get the guy that a lot of people thought they'd take in the first round. They get him in the first pick of the second round. So that's a good situation for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They've addressed areas of need on both sides of the football very early in this draft.
Joe?
And they traded up to get Broderick Jones. So
right.
That's someone they identified and wanted to get, right?
Yeah.
I think you had a guy with that length, that demeanor. He's nasty. He's got a ways to go still. So I think he's got a developmental curve. We're going to have to watch that over the next year or two and see what his upside actually is and if he can attain it. But, yeah, Joey Porter Jr., I'm with Dave. A lot of penalties. I do think sometimes he picks and chooses too often when he wants to defend the run and tackle.
Yeah.
And I think that issues like that, when you're handsy and then you're a bit decisive defending the run,
yeah,
I think that's why he ended up in round two.
It's interesting. Of the 31 picks in the first round yesterday, 14 of them, there was some sort of a trade involved. 14 of the 31.
Wow.
I mean, it was the wild west.
It was odd.
It was crazy. And the Bengals, two things that they've done well in building this roster the way they built it: patience and an ability to pivot. And they continued to show it in this draft.
Evan, I'll let you take us to start the Baltimore Ravens. They do the Lamar Jackson deal, $52 million a year, $185 million guaranteed.
Right.
And they say, now we're set. They go get a wide receiver to help him out in their second round. Your take on what the Ravens are doing?
I definitely like what the Ravens are doing, right? The talk has constantly been get Lamar help. Now, whatever you think OBJ might still have, at least they're making an investment there. And after picking Rashad Bateman very recently, they go and they swing in the first round of the guy like Zay Flowers, who is a little bit small and kind of doesn't have quite the frame or the catch radius that you might want from a guy, but definitely has that quickness, that springiness. He's very twitched up, has that separation ability underneath, and will be able to give them probably an underneath receiver that they've been missing sorely, where they've often relied on guys like Devin Duvernay to kind of fill that role a little bit, where I think you have more talent in the receiver room in Baltimore than maybe you've had in the last, 5-6 years, something like that. So you're talking about good value there. I think it's good process, bringing Lamar back. We've talked about how he's a 26-year-old MVP, and for all the questions that you have to have guys who can change the game, who can change the calculus for you. We saw the matchup between Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes a couple years ago in the playoffs. You can't just try and patch it together and piecework this together and try and make a quarterback work. Lamar has proven that he can be one of those top guys, one of the deadliest weapons in the NFL, and trying to build around him a little bit with a new offense coming in Todd Monken, I think it's a good move for them.
All right. We've just learned that we've got another trade, Dave. You talked about the Titans have traded with the Cardinals, moved up to pick 33. That pick will be in. Malik, I'll let you talk on Ravens as we wait on that.
Honestly, I mean, to Evan's point, I understand why the Ravens went out there and grabbed a wide receiver, especially having a need there. But I honestly thought the Ravens were going to address the cornerback position. I really did. I was kind of shocked to see certain corners like Deonte Banks fall the way that they did. But I mean, it makes sense. You listen, we can't scream, get Lamar Jackson help, and then not go out there and get the guy help. So, I hope it doesn't work out for them, but it was, but the pick made sense for the Baltimore Ravens.
All right, breaking news: Will Levis is off the board.
How about it?
After he sits in the green room, probably the most difficult day any quarterback has ever had to have in round 2.
When it was Tennessee, I thought, there's a chance
might be
they might be moving up for Will
but
Levis.
it could have been Hendon Hooker, right?
Yeah, it could have been. It could have been the local hero.
Yeah,
There's no doubt about it. But yeah, and as far as Baltimore is concerned, again, 3 receivers. They signed a couple in free agency. They draft one. I mean, they've really attacked that receiver position. There's no doubt about it. But to Malik's point, corner would have made some sense. I don't know. As I was looking at the draft, and you guys, I don't know if you counted up the way I did, but of the top 100 picks, I had 12 defensive end edge rush guys, 10 defensive tackles. 22 of the top 100 picks were going to be in those positions. 15 corners, 10 to 12 tight ends. 1 tight end was drafted. Just 4 cornerbacks were drafted. So in my mind today, now 11 defensive linemen were drafted when you add up defensive tackles and defensive ends. But in my mind today, it might be a little busy at the tight end and the cornerback position. There are a lot of guys still left on the board. No safeties drafted. I mean, Branch is a hell of a player. There's still a lot of talent, Joe, on the board. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, there is no doubt about it. And my last point on Zay Flowers, that run of receivers that happened right there, 4 straight receivers, and then Dalton Kincaid. These teams wanted to add weapons. Those are the arms race of the AFC teams right there, right? That all said, hey, we got to catch the Bengals, we got to catch the Chiefs, and let's add more weapons.
All right, guys, the only team that did not have a pick in the second round was Cleveland.
Too bad.
So the thoughts on where the Browns are after they have pulled their Deshaun Watson deal, and it's already kind of caved in on them, hasn't it, Malik?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I would say it caved in. It hasn't caved in just yet. I still think Deshaun Watson is a phenomenal, quarterback. I really do. I think that the guy sat out, so there's a little bit of rust involved there. I'd like to think that this is not the final version of Deshaun Watson that we'll see. I still think that he's going to take a step forward.
You think that's a guy that can save that team?
Honestly, Brad, I do. I do. I think Deshaun Watson is that good. I mean, you remember when this guy was healthy, he was like Superman out there, man. I mean, he was literally he was. Listen, I hope that for our Bengals' sake, I hope that Deshaun Watson continues to play horrible. I hope that he continues to throw a lot of interceptions and things of that nature. But the fact of the matter is, I got to see it this year. I got to see what he is this year to have a final opinion.
Real quick. AFC quarterbacks, talking about Deshaun Watson. How about the AFC quarterbacks now? Why draft an edge rusher? Patrick Mahomes. We got Joe Burrow. But Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers now, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Herbert, Tua, Lawrence, Watson, all the guaranteed money. Wilson's looking for a rebound year in Denver. 9 of the 16 teams have a quarterback that if they have a good year are going to go to the Pro Bowl. You can't have enough pass rushers. You cannot have enough cover guys.
Yeah.
The AFC is loaded. There's going to be 4 quarterbacks that have great years that don't make the Pro Bowl. 4 teams that have a great year that don't make the playoffs.
Fair enough.
It's crazy.
And now out of the first 4 quarterbacks drafted, 3 in the AFC.
Right.
All right. Daniel's taking questions. You guys can throw those in on YouTube. So we've got one now. I know Daniel has a chance to do that. You got it for us, Daniel?
my man, I've got you. And this is for everybody. We're going to go down the line. You guys can answer from our guy, Tyler. He said, how far does Michael Mayer fall? I just want to get you guys' opinions on Michael Mayer.
Well, I guess I'll start this one off. Sam Laporta just went off the board here to the Detroit Lions.
Bengals loved him. That was their guy at tight end.
Yeah.
That was the guy the Bengals really liked at tight end, Laporta.
Yeah, that's a shock to see Michael Mayer falling this far. This is a guy that was lauded as the best tight end in the draft. And sort of the most complete tight end and pro-ready tight end in the draft. So I can't imagine him falling too much further, but as he continues to creep down, I imagine somebody might trade up and try to grab him.
Looking at it, it's only 2 tight ends off the board.
Yeah.
I mean, there was only 1 tight end drafted. The tight end position, oh, man, it's deep. In my opinion, 11 tight ends were going to come off maybe 12, 10 to 12 in the first 2 days, the first 3 rounds. 1. So when's the run on tight ends happening? Well, maybe it might start to happen now. But, the thing about Mayer, he's solid. I mean, he does everything well. He's a solid blocker. He's got, good hands. Does he have the best hands of the tight ends in the draft? No. According to a lot of people, no. But he's solid. And of course, here in Cincinnati, he's a Covington product. So, Cubcap, everybody's hoping that the Cincinnati Bengals could see their way to drafting, another local boy.
Joe, your thoughts?
I think solid is why he's fallen.
Right.
I don't think because he doesn't have the one trait to really lean on. You look at the history or recent history of tight ends that have really hit.
Yep.
They're elite athletes. They attest like elite athletes. Mayer missed those marks, and I think it really hurt him because he came in with average size at the combine.
Average speed.
Yeah, average speed, barely above average quickness.
Yep.
I think that hurts him. Even though he's probably the most well-rounded guy in this class, you still come away with, what do you want? You want a dynamic weapon.
Right. The thing about him, when I watched him, everything was a contested catch.
Yeah.
He got no separation in college. No separation.
Yeah.
So in the NFL, how are you going to get separation in the NFL if you can't get separation in the NCAA? And he made a lot of contested catches, but hell, get some separation on somebody. And he really and I like him. I think he's not jack of all trades, expert at none. I don't want to say that. I think he's a very, very solid football player. But every team in the NFL passed on him in the first round for a reason. Every single team did.
And Sam Laporta went before him.
Right.
Evan, your thoughts on it?
Yeah, so with Michael Mayer, he averaged obviously an absurd 2.4 yards per route run, very efficient, even being the centerpiece of that Notre Dame offense, and kind of succeeded despite all the attention on him. And they touched on it really well, that Michael Mayer is very solid in a lot of different aspects, in blocking, in pass blocking, in route running, and all of these things, but he doesn't have that true trump card, these athletic traits that kind of would push him into that first-round conversation. And like Dave said, contested catches are good that they have high rates of conversions, but you don't want a lot of contested catches because then that can signify a potential separation issue, like Dave said. And he did have a 65.4 contested catch rate, which is really impressive. Uses his body well, uses his length and leverage well to win those battles, but you'd also like to see him not be in those battles as often. And just a quick note on him too, despite not testing like a out of this world athlete, not having the deep speed or the quickness you might expect, he was 3rd in deep yards and 1st in deep catches among tight ends with 25-plus targets. So it's not to say that he can't punish that intermediate part of the field and maybe give you a little bit more, but at the same time, I can understand going different routes with tight ends, but I really cannot see him falling past the Packers with the 11th round pick.
I think, Evan, Malik has some word. The Raiders have just traded up with the Colts to get the 35th. You say this is him?
I just got a text saying that Michael Mayer just got drafted by the Raiders here to replace
there you go. He doesn't fall far.
Dave Casper-like. Dave Casper fits that.
There you go. So, Commissioner at the mic. And we are waiting on word. The selection is in, and it is, in fact, after he announces the trade, Michael Mayer from Notre Dame.
Michael Mayer.
And Dave Casper, I played college football at the same time as Dave Casper. He was a tackle at Notre Dame. I played in the East-West Shrine game as a guard next to Dave Casper at tackle.
Yeah.
And he converted from tackle to tight end for the Raiders. So he's, again, great route runner, no separation, contested catch block. Michael Mayer is exactly the same kind of guy as Dave Casper.
All right. We'll get more on this. This may be the run on tight ends.
Dave Lapham here, and every day I am grateful for my experience to have played professional football. As a player, I realize self-motivation, leadership, and appreciating your teammates are key. At First Star Logistics, you can use those same attributes to create the life you want for you and your family. Build your future by working hard like I did. You'll see results both on and off the field. Call First Star Logistics today and be part of our winning team.
Ding!